All right, this is this week's edition of SDN Sports Seen. I'm sports editor Danny P. Smith, and Robbie Faulk's our high school beat writer and helps us with Mississippi State coverage. And it's a busy time. Sports are overlapping, and basketball's starting. But it doesn't wait on football. Football playoffs. Everybody's playing now, and it's everybody. It's win or go home time. And we've got a lot of teams in our coverage area that's playing, and that's the way I like it. I like for a lot of our teams to have a chance to advance.
Yeah, we've only lost one team at this point, and that was Starkville Academy a couple weeks ago. Everybody won last week. Starkville joins the fray this week. They're going to be in the first round of the 7A playoffs. It's just a really exciting time, and this has been, one of the better years, even with Starkville not really, playing up to their potential at this point. They've been in this position before, and who's to say that they can't make another run? So even with them not really being what they usually are right now, this feels like one of the best years we've had as an area. Eupora has taken a step forward. East Webster and Choctaw County have combined for 2 losses and have been absolutely dominant in the last few weeks. And, we'll see what happens this weekend. It should be a really fun round 2 / round 1 for Starkville.
Yeah, it's really going to be interesting in 3A. Of course, East Webster has to go to Humphreys County, an undefeated team that I don't know anything about. But if they're undefeated, it must mean they've been playing some good football. And then Choctaw County gets Winona again, and that's going to be. We kind of saw this coming, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Everybody's in this area is kind of looking at 2 weeks down the road as a possibility of a big-time North State championship in Choctaw and East Webster. But I promise you, those 2 teams are not focused on that. They're focused on what's ahead because they're both playing 1 and 2 in that division in Humphreys County and Winona. For Humphreys County, it's very much kind of an unknown because it's just not a team that East Webster or anybody around here is really used to. It's a Delta team that we don't really hear about that often. But I talked to Ron Price last week after their game, and they had already been kind of looking at them a little bit. Sometimes in the playoffs you got to do that, and they were well prepared for Belmont, but at the same time they were kind of peeking ahead. And this is a team that Ron Price thought was very similar as far as the scheme is concerned to what Belmont did. The only difference is the athletes, and their athletes are very good. They got a lot of really good athletes, and being a Delta school, that's not uncommon. There's a lot of good athletes down there, and this is a team, like you said, they haven't lost. So they've been in a lot of close games. They've been through some adversity, and they've found ways to get out with wins. And then for Choctaw County, you're playing a name. You're playing Winona. And this is a team that they beat earlier in the year. They kind of got over that hump. They've been wanting to get back in a fight with Winona. They got that opportunity because last year they missed it. That was a game they were really looking forward to in the playoffs, and it was supposed to be round 3 of the playoffs, Choctaw County, Winona. Well, they stubbed their toe and they lost to Amanda Elsie. They've had that game on their mind, that Amanda Elsie game, since it ended. And I think that mindset shift that they've had where they don't want to feel that again has been the difference for that team this year. And the result is 9 out of 10 games with a running clock. But the one game that they didn't have it in their last 10 or whatever it is at this point was Winona, 35-21. So that was the last game that was competitive for them. And they know this is, even though this isn't the Winona team that played for the state championship and won it last year, it's still a program with a lot of tradition and guys on that team that won a state title a year ago. So, Choctaw County has got to put the helmet behind them and just go out there and play their brand of football. And if they do, it's a team that can beat anybody in 3A.
Yeah, very, very competitive. Seems like every year here lately. And, sometimes coaches, they'll bring up the 1-0 mentality, and sometimes you might get tired of them saying that. Some of the coaches, I've listened to Chase Nicholson say it all year at Starkville Academy, and then Brett Morgan brought it up this week. But in the playoffs, you pretty much you'd have to go 1-0, or the alternative is not good.
That's right. You got to. It's just like I said with Choctaw County. They've been in this position before where they look like a team destined to win North State or go to North State or whatever, and they just come out in a game flat. And that's what Dylan Mitchell is really trying to guard against with this team, because since they've consolidated, there's the history with Ware and there's the history with Ackerman and the things that they've done over the years. This program has not done it.
Mm-hmm.
This program hasn't been able to do it as the Choctaw County Chargers. So getting over that hump is what this team wants to do this year, and that's the challenge. And you got every single week you have got to come out with a different mentality than what you've played with in the past. And this team, like I said, capable of beating anybody. And I got to tell you, I mean, it would be a shock if they didn't come out and do that, because every game since that first game of the season, they've had that mentality.
Yeah.
And you know, we would be remiss not to mention Caleb Cunningham.
I was
this
just
week,
to bring that up.
committing to flipping to Ole Miss, which has been kind of building for the last few weeks. People in Ackerman, people in the Starkville Daily News area, probably not happy with that. But you know, he sees what Lane Kiffin's doing there, and all the receivers, what they're doing there at Ole Miss. I mean, it's hard to turn that down right now if you're an in-state wide receiver, especially.
Yeah.
So, you know, he's been going to games in Oxford the last few weeks. He was there last week against Georgia and was just blown away.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, Ole Miss has spent a lot of time and effort on him since the spring, and it paid off. They were able to beat out Alabama for his services.
Yeah. As a kid that wanted to stay, you know, close to home and stay in state, you know, it's tough that he's not just coming right down the road to Starkville, but kid's got to do what's best for him, and you got to you know, admire him for that. It's going to be tough to see him playing in Oxford if you're a Mississippi State fan, but because he's a good talent and he's going to make some plays.
Oh yeah,
and you know, it's going to be, you know, exciting to watch him.
Mississippi State's just in a tough spot right now. I mean, they're just it's just not a great time, and you know, we've seen this before in Starkville. State's going through these you know, lapses or whatever you want to call it. Ole Miss has been through them too.
Yeah.
You just have sometimes you have these ups and downs in your football program. Right now, State's just kind of searching. They're just kind of out in the wilderness right now, and it's tough to sell it.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the big problem for him. I think Jeff Lebby has a lot to sell on the offensive side of the ball, but right now it's not coming in wins for them. And you know, the defense has really struggled. It's just going to take a lot to get this team kind of back where they want it to be, and I think it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
You know, and right now it's just, you know, Mississippi State just couldn't sell that vision to Caleb. Right. You know, he took a vision that's already been proven by Lane Kiffin, and you know, Jeff Lebby, I think he has a good vision, and they did a really good job recruiting him. Chad Bumpus did a really good job recruiting him, building that relationship. But from a results-oriented standpoint, you know, State's just not there right now.
All right. Well, we'll just keep it with football talk this week, and we'll wrap it up with the Kayla Cunningham news that just broke today. This is Wednesday, so when you see this, you probably have already heard that. But you know, it's exciting time of the year. The other sports are happening, but football is ruling the roost as we get toward late November and then early December with the championships down in Hattiesburg. So we'll see if any of our teams are able to advance that far. And
they have been for like the last 10 years.
We've always had somebody there, whether it be West Point or Starkville or somebody else. So it's going to be interesting to see what transpires this year. But stay tuned, and we'll be following it and keep you guys informed. Have a good week.
Always love